Groveman from Wisconsin.
Just a comment, because I've heard similar comments from other members of your party, and of course, I love working with you guys. When Elon Musk or Doge or the president look into some of the federal employees around here, and we all know federal employees around here because maybe we have relatives, we have friends, whatnot, who work in the government. We hear some scare stories about people doing, and there are many hardworking federal employees. I'm glad we have good federal employees, but we hear anecdotal evidence of people doing very little. If President Trump is the head of the executive branch and he discovers some employees doing very little, your position is apparently that we must keep these people going through the next budget or what have you and keep doing very little. It is obvious to me that both President Trump and the American public, upon discovering people who are doing very little work, should ask that those employees be terminated. It's not something he does joyfully, but that is what you do if you are running the executive branch. And it is ridiculous that we have to have President Trump attacked and the Republican Party attacked when an effort is made to find employees who are doing very little. I am glad that President Trump has assigned people to look into this, and there are critical things you can say about the Republicans, but I wish you'd focus on that rather than trying to claim that every federal employee here in this town is necessary.
Would you yield for a question?
Sure.
Well, because you're bringing up that it should be okay, and you see no problem with the Trump administration and with Doge doing this mass firing because, quote unquote, people are doing very little. How are they figuring out who's doing very little? I'm just curious.
Well, you'll have to ask them, right?
Oh, I'll have to ask them. So you're okay with being behind something
look,
that's happening, the mass firing of people, firing of veterans?
Congressman Groveman's time.
The president is in charge of the executive branch. I would assume at any given time, people are being hired and being fired. Probably more than have been the last 50 years around here, but they are. They are not going to report to Congress every time they feel a position is unnecessary. That would be absurd.
Gentleman yields his time to Mr. Gosar.
You know, Glenn, I'd like to ask you about, wasn't there, this is not novel having somebody like this, wasn't Ezekiel Emanuel part of Obamacare? And I don't know what's more personal, or personal financial, or personal.
All presidents have unconfirmed advisors.
Thank you.
That is not a new thing either.
Would the gentleman yield?
Gentleman yields back, right?
Is it your position that the president can delete any agency created?
Oh, yeah. No, he yielded his time back. Chair recognizes Mr. Christian Morte from Illinois.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to very briefly address Mr. Grothman, I take you at, as being serious about wanting to improve efficiency in government and so forth. I think the issue is when you fire or give a pink slip to 200,000 probationary workers at one time, regardless of their efficiency, I think that's where there's a serious concern that's raised. But I want to just address one other issue, Mr. Comer, and that's the U.S. Postal Service. On December 14th, 2024, the Washington Post reported that the Trump administration was considering, at that time, a move to privatize the Postal Service and push thousands of Federal Service employees out of their jobs in favor of a broad privatization of the agency's essential services. Then, just last week, on February 20th, the Washington Post stated that the administration is preparing to, quote, dissolve the leadership of the USPS and absorb the independent mail agency into his administration, as you know, the Commerce Department, potentially throwing trillions of dollars of e-commerce transactions into turmoil. These reports are beyond troubling, and I respectfully request that you have a hearing again on the USPS. You had a very good hearing the other day where we were able to grill Mr. DeJoy And I learned a lot. I think a lot of our members on both sides learned a lot. I think we need to have a hearing on this particular issue. As you know, the USPS is the foundation of our $1.92 trillion mailing industry, led courageously by numerous veterans, letter carriers who deliver 44% of the world's mail. More importantly, no private sector entity provides universal service across the nation. And without these letter carriers and others, more than 51.5 million households and businesses, especially in rural communities, Mr. Chairman, would have no guaranteed delivery. As a member of this panel tasked with oversight of the federal government's activities, including the USPS, I believe it's essential, it's imperative that we have this hearing, sir. I know that you and the ranking member care deeply about the USPS, and what the administration is proposing to do with the USPS, in my opinion, is illegal. It is against the framework of the USPS, and we need to look into it. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Before I recognize Ms. Green from Georgia, I'll just respond that when we see a proposal or something, we will have something, either a briefing or a committee hearing or subcommittee hearing or something. I'm interested as well to see what. You mentioned potentially throw it into turmoil. Some would argue the Postal Service is already in turmoil right now with the delays in certain mail sorting facilities. So I agree with what you said. I know you're sincere, and I think Ranking Member Conley and I have demonstrated we want to support the Postal Service, and so when we find out more, we'll do something immediately, have a briefing or a subcommittee hearing or full committee hearing. Okay. Chair recognizes Ms. Green from Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Democrat colleagues across the aisle are complaining and pitching tantrums over Elon Musk and his Doge teams cutting waste, fraud, and abuse from the executive branch and the federal government. Claiming this is unconstitutional is an outright lie. Article 2 of the Constitution clearly states that the executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. President Trump exercised that power by appointing Mr. Elon Musk as a special government employee. The President, via executive order, created the U.S. Doge service within the former U.S. Digital Service to implement the President's Doge agenda by modernizing federal technology and software to maximize governmental efficiency and productivity. Doge has been brought in exactly like the U.S. Digital Service during President Obama's tenure. This is not unconstitutional. 72% of Americans, this is on both sides of the aisles, you guys. These are people in your district, these are people in my district, agree that we need to cut the ridiculous amount of waste, fraud, and abuse because Americans, all of us together, are $36 trillion in debt. $36 trillion in debt is what should be unconstitutional. Not doing everything we can to save the American people their hard-earned tax dollars. You can protest all you want outside of departments of this government. You can protest all you want, but the American people disagree with you. You're protecting the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is not a business. Those are not real jobs producing federal revenue. By the way, they're consuming taxpayer dollars. Those jobs are paid for by the American tax people who work real jobs, earn real income, pay federal taxes, and then pay these federal employees. Federal employees do not deserve their jobs. Federal employees do not deserve their paychecks. And these are jobs that can be fired at will. But you want to know why? The American people can't pay for it anymore. We cannot afford it. $36 trillion in debt. If you want to make that your platform, your hill to die on, go ahead, because 72% of Americans agree with Doge, agree with cutting the waste, fraud, and abuse, and agree with what this committee is supposed to be about, oversight. So continue your temper tantrums. I would love to win the midterms. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Chair recognizes Mr. Frost from Florida.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it. You know, in the mission statement that you've put out for this committee, it says it's to ensure that the economy, efficiency, effectiveness, and accountability of the federal government, which I think we all agree on. We all want to combat waste, fraud, and abuse. But the thing is that y'all are all looking in the wrong places. You want to talk about making cuts to things like Medicaid, which, by the way, over 35% of all the children in this country are covered under Medicaid. Over 100,000 people in my district are covered under Medicaid. People like the grifter-in-chief Trump and President Musk are openly using their public offices to enrich themselves to the tune of billions of dollars. So if we want to look at waste, fraud, and abuse, which I'm down to do, why is there complete silence on the other side of the aisle about looking at the complete grifter that is the President of the United States and the richest man on the earth, which is looking into things like Social Security and different things like that? Why don't we investigate the real corruption?
Hold off. Point of order.
I reclaim my time.
Point of order.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Hold off. There was a point of order when you said something. Who asked for it? Mr. Higgins.
I can refer to Elon Musk as the president.
I don't believe the First Amendment has been suspended in this committee yet.
Yeah, y'all were fine with
All
one of
right,
your other members
suspend
talking
for a
about fighting
second. Let
someone
me
just a
speak
few weeks ago.
parliamentary.
Well, did anyone on our
Mr.
side
Frost,
make a meme
Mr. Frost,
coin
Mr.
right after
Frost.
being elected president of the United States?
Mr. Frost, before we proceed on all of this,
Mr. Chairman?
would you like to hold on? I'm the chairman. I'm recognize Mr. Frost, and we'll recognize you. Would you like to revise your remark with respect to improperly identifying the president of the United States?
I'll say President Musk and grifter-in-chief Trump.
All right.
Grifter-in-chief
Hey, Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Wait a second.
If I wanted to challenge someone to a fight, they would know it. Thank you.
There's an extra fundraising video for her.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I don't believe that Mr. Musk is protected by the rules of the House or the committee. No,
We're looking at the disparaging the president now.
but I don't believe Mr. Frost disparaged the president. I believe he disparaged Mr. Musk.
Well, he did disparage.
Mr. Chairman, if
President.
Mr. Musk
Called
actually
him the-
came here,
what-
then maybe the rules
All
of
right.
the committee
I heard
would
no
apply to
disparagement
him.
of the-
But-
I'll say something else.
We'll save a lot of time.
I'll say something else.
Okay, all right. We're going to let Chair recognize Mr. Frost. You still have 3:49. You're going to maybe revise the disparaging comment about the president because that's supposed to be our decorum here. And
It is supposed to be. President Musk and the President of the United States, Donald Trump, who is engaged in grifting of the American people, often use their public offices to enrich themselves. Someone on the other side was just asking, how would you
Point of
feel
order,
if you
Mr.
called
Chairman.
someone else from the
hold
other
off, Mr. Frost, hold off. There's a pending motion for disparaging the president. So the motion was words taken down about disparaging the president. And the chair finds the words for the gentleman from Florida are not parliamentary because they constitute personalities toward the president, which if you sit in the House floor, that's always uttered by the presiding officer on the House floor. You cannot disparage the President of the United States. So
But, Mr. Chairman, would you please read back to us the words that were disparaging? Because I didn't hear them.
if you're willing to request unanimous consent to withdraw the disparaging the comments about President Trump, I guess you can disparage Elon Musk if you want.
I will withdraw
cannot-
grifter-in-chief, and I will. I will say the president's grifting because you spent the last 2 years saying
right.
President
Take
Biden
down
was
his
corrupt.
words.
So I can say that Trump is
motion-
grifting. What I will withdraw
member-
is calling him grifter in chief. That is what I
The
will
chair
withdraw.
sustains the point of order, and the words in question are ordered stricken from the transcript of this proceeding. So the member is barred from further participation.
feel-
I challenge the ruling of the chair.
Challenge the ruling of the chair.
I moved to table.
Okay, we have a motion to challenge the ruling of the chair, and then Mr.
Motion to table.
Gosar made a motion to table the Mr.
Second.
Conley's motion. So there's a motion and second to table Mr. Conley's motion. The motion is not debatable. As many as are in favor of tabling signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no.
No.
In the opinion of the chair,
Mr. Chairman,
the
I ask
ayes
for a
have it.
recorded vote.
A recorded vote is ordered. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Jordan. Mr. Jordan votes yes. Mr. Turner. Mr. Gosar. Mr. Gosar votes yes. Ms. Fox. Mr. Grothman. Mr. Grothman votes yes. Mr. Cloud. Mr. Cloud votes yes. Mr. Palmer. Mr. Palmer votes aye. Mr. Higgins. Mr. Higgins votes yes. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Sessions votes aye. Mr. Biggs. Mr. Biggs votes aye. Miss Mace. Miss Mace votes aye. Mr. Fallon.
Aye.
Mr. Fallon votes aye. Mr. Donalds. Mr. Perry. Mr. Perry votes aye. Mr. Timmons. Mr. Timmons votes aye. Mr. Burchett. Miss Green. Miss Green votes aye. Miss Boebert. Miss Boebert votes aye. Miss Luna. Mr. Langworthy. Mr. Burleson. Mr. Burleson votes aye. Mr. Crane. Mr. Crane votes aye. Mr. Jack.
Aye.
Mr. Jack votes aye. Mr. McGuire. Mr. McGuire votes yes. Mr. Gill. Mr. Gill votes aye. Mr. Connolly.
Nay.
Mr. Connolly votes nay. Ms. Norton.
No.
Ms. Norton votes no. Mr. Lynch.
No.
Mr. Lynch votes no. Mr. Krishnamurthy.
No.
Mr. Krishnamurthy votes no. Mr. Khanna.
No.
Mr. Khanna votes no. Mr. Mfume.
No.
Mr. Mfume votes no. Miss Brown.
No.
Miss Brown votes no. Miss Stansbury.
Absolutely not.
Miss Stansbury votes no. Mr. Garcia. Mr. Garcia votes no. Mr. Frost.
No.
Mr. Frost votes no. Ms. Lee. Ms. Lee votes no. Mr. Kassar. Ms. Crockett.
Insulting people's appearance as well as trying to fight them isn't a problem.
Point of order. It's a yes or no.
But we're so sad
No.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
that our
Yes or no?
little
Just skip her.
We're so
Skip her.
sad.
Skip her. You're
My
skip
vote.
her. Go to the next one. Go to the next
Miss
one.
Randall.
anchor.
Go to the next one. Don't count that. Go to the next one.
Miss Randall votes no. Mr. Subramaniam. Mr. Subramaniam votes no. Miss Ansari. Mr. Bell. Mr. Bell votes no. Miss Simon. Miss Simon votes no. Mr. Min.
No.
Mr. Min votes no. Miss Presley. Miss Tlaib.
Nope.
Miss Tlaib votes no. Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman votes yes.
Mr. Chairman, how is Ms. Crockett recorded?
Let's try this one more time. How has Ms. Crockett voted?
Ms. Crockett is not yet recorded.
No.
All right.
I thank my colleague.
Ms. Crockett votes no.
Mr. Chairman, how is Mr. Kesar recorded?
Mr. Kassar is not recorded. Mr. Kassar votes no. Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 20, the nays are 19.
All right. The motion to table passes. I now recognize Mr. McGuire.
I want to say it's despicable that this committee is going to silence me for bringing
The
up
gentleman's
Trump's
words have been
Mr.
taken
Frost,
down. He is not
Mr.
permitted to
Frost.
speak for the rest of the hearing.
making millions of dollars.
Mr. Mr. Ranking Member, I'm going to have the Sergeant at Arms remove him if he doesn't refrain. All right. Chair recognizes Mr. McGuire.
Mr. Chairman,
Get out,
parliamentary
get out.
inquiry. Parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. McGuire.
Parliamentary
Thank you, Mr.
inquiry,
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to correct